In this video, I'm going to share some information about how USCIS is currently processing the I-129F applications for K1 fiancé visas. With this information, hopefully you can get a better idea about when you will actually be able to receive your K1 visa. As some background, my fiancé is Japanese. We got engaged last summer. From what we read at the time, we understood that it would take 8 to 10 months to get our K1 visa, so we didn't waste any time. We put in the substantial effort to make the I-129F packet, we paid the substantial application fee, and a couple weeks later, we received the notification from USCIS that our application was received. Since then, we haven't heard anything. If you're anything like me, this uncertainty has been very stressful. We've already postponed our wedding once to the end of this year, but without any additional information, we are wondering, are we really going to get the K1 visa in time? Are we going to have to postpone our wedding again? You've probably searched and found information that the USCIS is working to reduce their backlog. Well, I found a way to extract some additional information from the USCIS website, and I'm sorry to say that despite the Ombudsman's claim that the backlog is being reduced, at least for the K1 visa, processing times are actually increasing. How do I know this? Well, actually, the status of applications is publicly available information. After you make an application to USCIS, they respond with a notification number that allows you to track the status of your application. Actually, anyone who has that number can track the status of your application. I've gone through the effort of collecting the statuses of all pending applications from March to September of 2021, and I've been collecting statistics about how they have progressed over the last 4 weeks. As it turns out, there's only a handful of standard status messages that are attached to all of these notification numbers. Of all of the possible notification numbers for the period between March and September of last year, the most common status is that the application has been received. The second most common is that the application has been approved, which is great, but there are several other possible status messages, such as something related to requiring additional evidence, or something related to updating the application, or notification that the case has either been rejected or denied, and several other possible rare types of messages. This graph shows the number of cases that have the status of simply being received. In other words, there is no indication that any of these cases have begun being processed. The blue bars show the number of cases waiting to be processed as of 3 weeks ago, and the green bars show the same status as of today. From this graph, it's clear that basically USCIS has not started processing any cases that were received from July of last year or later. It's also clear from the right side of this graph that USCIS receives around 600 new applications every week. Zooming in, it's clear that for the last 3 weeks or so, USCIS has basically only been processing cases that were received around May of last year, just starting to process some of the cases that were received last June. In real numbers, as of July 2nd, 2022, there were 11,670 I-129F applications that have been received between March and September of 2021, still waiting to start being processed. In the 3 weeks since then, 584 were approved, 21 were denied or withdrawn, and 406 moved to some other status such as requiring additional evidence. That means that over the past 3 weeks, USCIS has been processing around 350 cases a week and approving around 200 of those cases every week. However, as we just saw, the backlog for I-129F applications grows by around 600 cases a week, so just processing 350 cases won't keep up with the growing backlog. So what does this mean? Well, for me and my fiancé, since our application was received at the end of September 2021, there are still almost 11,000 applications ahead of us waiting to start being processed. At the current pace of USCIS processing around 350 applications per week, that means that we can expect an additional 29 weeks, or almost 7 months from now, until our application gets processed. That's a total wait time of 17 months, much longer than the 13.5 months that's currently shown on the USCIS website. For everyone else, here's a graph that projects how long of a wait time you can expect for your I-129F application to be processed. To use it, find the point on the line at the bottom of this graph that corresponds to the date that your application was received. Then, draw a line straight up to the blue line. From the point that it crosses the blue line, draw a line straight to the left. Where this line hits the vertical scale that's on the left of this graph gives you an estimate of the total processing time for your application. I hope you found this information useful. Unfortunately, it's clear that the situation for the K1 visa application is getting worse, not better. I suggest that you or your sponsor write a letter to your congressman to try to put some extra pressure to improve this situation. If you did find this information helpful, please help me out by giving a like to this video. Also, I'll definitely continue to track this situation, so please subscribe to get the latest info. If you have any questions or suggestions about other info that you'd like to know about, please leave a comment. Thanks!